When I look at the creation story and the events that took place in the garden, I see the overarching theme of order that can be applied to both an individual and society at large. The book opens with the words, "In the beginning," and then we count the first 7 days. Everything done in these 7 days were done in rational order. Land mammals followed the foliage, the stars followed the expansion, and rest followed the completion of work. All things were done in rational order. And then we zoom in on the 6th day. We see the creation of mankind. First, Adam was created, and then he was placed in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden represents the highest order of human social and cultural development. In a word, civilization, which is beyond savagery and barbarism. Someone asked the question, well, how does the Garden of Eden represent civilization, and what does that have to do with order? To answer this question, I like to refer to the Dogon creation story because it helps me put what God did in the garden into its proper perspective. In the Science of the Dogon, Decoding the African Mystery Tradition, it states that at some point the ancestor was ready to begin the work of establishing civilization, starting with the teaching of agriculture. Isn't that what God did with Adam? After creating him, he built the garden and then placed him in the garden and taught him how to cultivate and keep it. Shortly thereafter, God established the family, man, woman, child, and mankind was on its way. The Dogon go on to tell us why agriculture precedes civilization. And they say that agriculture was a system for the restoration of order to the pure earth. And wherever agriculture and civilization spread, the impurity of the earth was thought to have receded. So, agriculture brings about civilization by restoring order to the earth, which eliminates the impurity of the earth. And once these impurities have receded, civilization can flourish. Before I move on to the next point, I want to make sure you produce the correct mental images when you think of the Garden of Eden. Eden means luxury, dainty, delight, finery. Adam and Eve were not living in the jungle. They were living in a well-dressed garden, like the ones you see on your screen, except it was made by God himself. Also, keep in mind, Adam and Eve did not build the Garden of Eden. They were placed in it and commanded to cultivate and keep it. The same way we were born into civilization, and we are given the same implied task, to cultivate and keep it. The question is, are we doing that? Another hint that the garden represents the highest order of human development is when Adam and Eve discovered that they were naked, and they dressed themselves using leaves and sticks like the savage. God shook his head and replaced the savage clothing with animal skin, which was more civilized. The last point I'll make regarding this overarching theme is a reference to the book of John 1:19. In the beginning was the Logos. The Logos is the power of mind to reason. Reason is the power of mind to think, understand, and form judgments by way of logic. Logic is the method of reasoning that involves a series of statements, words, or utterances, each of which must be true if the one before it is true. An example of informal logic in the form of deductive reasoning as follows. All humans are mortal. Joe is a human. Therefore, Joe is mortal. Keep in mind the goal of logic or reasoning is to reach or face the truth. Now, let's apply the theme of order to ourselves in practical terms, as both individuals and as society at large. It's actually really simple on both levels, so I won't belabor the point. All illnesses, acute or chronic, can be traced to a disorder. Once that disorder is identified, we do whatever is necessary to reestablish order and reverse the negative effects of said illness, be it physical or mental. Just think about it like this. If I'm not getting the respect or opportunities that I believe I deserve, I have to reflect on my current condition to determine what is out of order. I have to consider every aspect of my life, my economic status, my job status, my debts, my house, my yard, my car, my spouse, my kids, my education, and yes, even my appearance. Are all of these things in alignment? Do they all command respect? If not, I need to work on that instead of blaming it on things that are beyond my control or pretending that I have no control over important aspects of my own life, or even worse, expecting others to affirm my feelings despite the fact that I'm failing myself. Now, as far as society is concerned, we have to choose. Do we want to move toward the advancement of civilization, or do we want to move toward the savage and barbarian? As stated before, civilization is the highest stage in human social and cultural development that is considered the most advanced. If we want to cultivate and keep our present civilization, then our institutions must promote and commend individuals that are achieving the highest stages of human, social, and cultural development, because those are the individuals others should model themselves after. Instead, today, our institutions are promoting and commending the individuals with every imaginable disorder. We must ask ourselves, are these people the people that we want to aspire to be like? Are these the individuals we want our children to model their success after? Of course, it's up to every individual to make the choice for themselves and their family. As for me and my house, we will choose the former. We will choose civilization over barbarism.
Doohan, you saved my ass.
Not yet.
Huh?
Most of the heat-resistant tiles have peeled off. The temperature's rising.